Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrikster, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go GBL battles. These battles are in Sinnoh Cup, and look at that, it's not even taking me 3 weeks to get a video out. Boy, I am doing so good right now. Alright. So, I have heard a few people concerned that Sinnoh Cup is starting to feel very rock, paper, scissors to them, very RPS, and I mean, it's early to be making that kind of a call, because we've only had it for like 2 days. For what it's worth, I have been running this team, and I have climbed like 300-ish points in 2 days. And granted, it's early in the cup, so there's still a lot of churn. The meta isn't super figured out yet. But so far, this has been working really well. So I am leading with Toxicroak. In the back, I have Bibarel, and I've got a Munchlax. If you don't have a Munchlax, you could use a Licky Licky, although it's hard to use Licky Licky if you don't have one with Body Slam, and Body Slam takes an Elite TM to do. But, I mean, if you're anything like me and have 8 Elite TMs, Elite Charge TMs, kind of sitting around doing not much from, like, Community Days and end-of-season rewards. I don't buy the Community Day bundles, so mine are kind of just from end-of-season rewards. Yeah, if you've got all of those sitting around and you don't have a better option, then spending it to add Body Slam to a Licky Licky, not the worst idea. Not the worst use of a TM. So, I recognize that the team looks like it is Toxicroak double normal. And if it were designed to be run as an ABB team, if you were in a neutral matchup with Toxicroak, then you would safe swap to draw out a hard counter and then, end up closing with your second back Pokemon. But that's not really how I would recommend playing this team. I just play it like a balanced team. If Toxicroak is in a mostly neutral matchup, generally speaking, I'll end up trying to stay in for as long as I reasonably can, maybe making a swap towards the end of that to try to make a catch or something if I feel like I want to preserve Toxicroak. But I'm not going to be trying to safe swap out of a neutral matchup into Munchlax just to draw out a hard counter, because if I do draw out a hard counter to Munchlax or to, I guess I'll just use Munchlax specifically, it will most likely be a Lucario or a Toxicroak. And if I draw out a Toxicroak and it counters Munchlax the whole way down, all of that energy that Toxicroak will be left with could kind of be used pretty effectively against my own Toxicroak. So, not really trying to bait out a fighter that will counter me the whole way down. If it happens, it happens, and that's still a almost manageable situation. But it's not something I'm seeking to do in every game. So, run this like a balanced team for the most part. Both of the backline Pokemon, even though they get completely pummeled by counter, you can still at least get one charge move off each time and force shields at the very least. All right. Toxicroak into Toxicroak. So, Toxicroak is very difficult for my team to deal with. Obviously, my best counter is just to stay in a mirror. Unfortunately, if my opponent is able to sneak in a counter and I'm not able to reciprocate that, if they're able to get ahead of me on there, then they would definitely be able to force their way into, I guess, switch advantage or just, beating my Toxicroak. My Toxicroak is a rank 1, so it will also lose CMP at every opportunity. I end up switching into Munchlax to try to catch a Mud Bomb, because if I just stay in, the longer I stay in with my own Tox in that situation, it's just the worst it's going to be for me. And they have a Bibarel in the back, which is a solid-ish response to Munchlax. I'm trying to reach a Bulldoze here, but since I'm not going to make it, I'm going to end up having to throw another Body Slam. Bulldoze is not as efficient as Body Slam and doesn't have stab, but it still does very slightly more damage. So, if there's a situation where you're not going to be able to reach 2 Body Slams, you'll be able to hit for neutral with Bulldoze also. Throwing the Bulldoze will just eke out a tiny amount more damage. They actively swap into Toxicroak, and I'm able to reach this Surf with my own Bibarel. That is going to take Toxicroak out if they don't use their last shield, and they don't. So, what is in the back? It is a Licky Licky. Yeah, I switched out right away, which maybe I should have stayed in longer. Gonna end up throwing this Mud Bomb. I pick up a shield, and they are throwing this Body Slam pretty much as soon as they've got it. But I have not quite put them low enough. If I'm able to reach a Hyper Fang, I should be able to take them out from here. I'm going to throw the Surf because I don't think I'm going to make it to the Hyper Fang. Bibarel's Surf, well, Surf and Hyper Fang both have Stab from Bibarel, and Surf is very slightly more energy efficient, like very, very slightly, like 1% more energy efficient, I guess, than Hyper Fang. So Hyper Fang, since it costs a little more, it does a little bit more, and they're basically the same efficiency. So which move you end up using really depends on, on just kind of planning how much damage you need to do with your charge moves, and whether you need to, throw cheat moves to reach a third Surf, or if you can save yourself a Surf by throwing a Hyper Fang. Factoring in how much damage you end up doing with Water Gun. So it's definitely something that's kind of an acquired skill, and it's very case by case depending on when a Pokemon switches into you or out of you. So I'm able to land that second Surf against the Empoleon and Water Gun the rest of the way down. They're going to come out with Gastrodon, and that is fine. I'm going to be able to reach this last Surf and throw that. And now I'm going to be able to align my Munchlax. No, wait, what was in the lead? I was talking about something else. I'm just going to assume it was something that walls Toxicroak, probably a Drifblim. So I'm going to end up shielding this. I don't remember what was in the lead. I'm sorry. Oh, Frostlass. Okay. All right. And I'm going to end up shielding this also, because at this point, I should be able to throw a Mud Bomb against this Frostlass. And, if I can land that, that would help a lot. But if not, getting the last shield is also fine, because I should just barely be able to reach my next Mud Bomb. They could have thrown an Avalanche and taken me out, but I guess they wanted to ensure that they would have energy for whatever was left over, since they were already kind of low. Manages to take them out. I throw a counter against Gastrodon before switching out into Munchlax, and at this point, I am perfectly safe. Even if Gastrodon throws an Earth Power, that would be its hardest hitting move. Munchlax can easily tank one of those. They actually throw Water Pulse, so I guess they had Water Pulse Body Slam. That's an unusual choice, but I guess Water Pulse will at least prevent Gastrodon from being completely walled by Drifblim, which turns out is everywhere. In my last video, I predicted that Drifblim wouldn't be that popular because Frostlass is kind of just better. But they have been all over the place, most of them paired up with an Empoleon core. Oh, here's a good example of switching out of Drifblim, which is a total wall, to Toxicroak, into Munchlax, and getting hard countered with the Lucario. So I don't have to shield anything against the Lucario. I'm going to be able to throw a second Body Slam, and they actually have to shield both of them, even though they're Body Slams, just because Lucario is so squishy that it just does enough. And I'm going to no-shield this Shadow Ball, and it does a lot, but it doesn't matter, because Toxicroak is so bad against Drifblim, there's basically no point in retaining anything on him. And now I'm just going to insta-swap into Bibarel so that Drifblim doesn't get a bunch of farm. I'm greeted with an Empoleon, and that is fine. At this point, I'm just going to throw this first Surf, and that's going to tell me a little bit about their IVs. If it's a very good IV Empoleon, I kind of have to throw a Surf and then land a Hyper Fang after that. Wait, is that what it is? No, I guess I think you double Surf no matter what. If it's a very good Empoleon, it will survive the 2 shields, eating 1 Surf. So there you have to bait Surf twice and land a Hyper Fang. If the IVs on the Empoleon are very good. Not what's happening in this situation, where I was just easily able to win by spending 1 shield and taking them down with double Surf. Drifblim's going to come back out, and I have plenty of health and energy to be able to take out this Drifblim. Like, Bibarel is a pretty decent wall to Drifblim. I was trying to go for a Hyper Fang BM ending there, but my opponent resigned the game just before I was able to do that, so good on them, keeping their Drifblim alive. No reason to let our Pokemon friends faint for no good reason. Alright, so that gets me a 4 out of 5. I get a Rufflet, which is not amazing, but I mean, I guess I still sort of need a Hundo Rufflet for, like, Master League or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. They keep giving us these Rufflets, and I just don't know what they're for. All right, next up against Silent Bob. Toxicroak into Drifblim. Drifblim, again, very, very popular, and there are a lot of Empoleons in the back behind those. I'm not sure who has popularized Drifblim Empoleon core, but, like, yeah, there's a lot of that. I think on stream I actually encountered, like, 4 of the same team in a row of Drifblim lead with Empoleon in the back, and then the third Pokemon was mixed between either Drapion or what was the other one? Drapion or Munchlax, I think. Regardless, yeah, Drifblim and Empoleon seems to be a very popular core right now. If you have Pachirisu, I think you run that. I would. If I had a Pachirisu, I would absolutely be running that right now. So, managed to take that out and win switch advantage, and Empoleon comes out, which is totally predictable. I'm going to bring Toxicroak out, and even though Toxicroak is terrible against Drifblim, I'm going to have to shield against this Empoleon because Bibarel can't take out full health Empoleon that's up a shield, and you know, that's what would end up happening. I know that if I had let Toxicroak faint, Bibarel would get debuffed by Drifblim and then really not be able to do anything against the Empoleon. So I had to shield there, even though normally I wouldn't be trying to retain my Toxicroak just because Empoleon was that healthy. So here, I really do need this Drifblim to shield, because I need to burn off these shields so that Toxicroak can take out the Empoleon, or like, I guess also just us stalling for time would be fine. There's the switch in. I'm going to bring Toxicroak in the instant I can, not throw anything. And then I'm going to spam out my Mud Bomb here so that I can at least force this last shield out of them. And I get it. And now, if they take me out, since I was able to get in all of these counters, Bibarel can pretty safely just farm down. I have a Surf loaded, and Bibarel is going to win CMP against Drifblim, being kind of fast. And yeah, this squat little speedy Beaver is able to take out the Drifblim, and I managed to take that game, and that is a GG. That was rough going down the 2 shields, though. But luckily, Bibarel is a really, really strong wall to Drifblim. All right, Empoleon in the lead. This is fantastic for me. There is a Cresselia in the back. And I saw the Psychic typing and switched out to Munchlax. Even then, it was a little bit slower than it should have been, I guess. You don't need to shield anything in the Cresselia matchup because you can easily survive 2 Grass Knots or 2 Moonblasts. Unfortunately for me, this Cresselia is actually carrying Future Sight, and I haven't been counting. So I had no... and like here, they reach another move, and I thought, there's no way this is a Future Sight, right? This is a Grass Knot, so I'll just no shield. It's fine. And it actually was the Future Sight. My concern was that if I shielded that, and I would have used the shield, and Empoleon would come out and go for an aggressive farm down, and I wouldn't be able to stop them. And there's actually a Gastrodon in the back. So switch advantage would have been nice. Yeah, I'm going to throw this Mud Bomb. Switch out into Bibarel. They're staying in for a bit, and they are going to throw something. I'm going to let this go because this can only be a Body Slam. It's only been 5 Mud Slaps. And that lands. I was saving my shields for Empoleon, but I've actually left myself too low. Some of those waterfalls seemed like they were coming out a little bit faster than they should have. I don't know about that. But it is what it is, and I don't think it would have made a difference. I'm still going to be able to reach this Hyper Fang. I was hoping that maybe they thought it would just be a Surf, so they would no-shield it, because they would easily survive it. But yeah, no, they ended up shielding that. That's okay. I wasn't going to reach a second Surf anyway. Toxicroak was going to come out. I am going to have to shield this because obviously it will KO me. I sneak in a counter this time. That helps a little. And I am able to take them out, taking only one waterfall of damage. Gastrodon's going to come back out, and it's just going to mud slap me the whole way down. I get close to being able to counter down, but I just don't quite make it. Yeah. Also, I had like energy, but not quite enough to reach a second mud bomb. I don't know. Close matchup, but that was a rough team comp for me. Losing switch there to the Cresselia. I needed to switch into Munchlax faster, or maybe just shield once they revealed that they had Future Sight. All right. So, Frostlass in the lead. I throw a Mud Bomb, land it, and switch out and manage to catch an Avalanche on my Bibarel, which is a fantastic start. Lucario comes out and is going to counter me the whole way down. I don't even reach a Surf, so maybe making that catch wasn't particularly helpful, because, if I didn't, I would have been able to throw a Surf. I'm going to shield here because if, this is a Shadow Ball, it doesn't make any sense for it not to be a Shadow Ball. If they threw a Power Punch, they wouldn't even be able to reach a second one, so it would just guarantee that they don't get anything done. Frostless is going to come out, and, thankfully, since I caught a move, Toxicroak has energy, I'm going to be able to reach that Mud Bomb and force a shield. And I could have thrown my other Mud Bomb, but they are building up past the Avalanche. I'm not sure why they were waiting to throw it. But I am just going to counter the whole way down. And now I'm spamming out Mud Bomb, but I should probably have just been spamming out Sludge Bomb. If I'm going to blind throw, and with that little health left, it was very unlikely I was going to be able to reach a second Mud Bomb against anything. But that's all right. Since I was able to do that damage, I am just going to bring Munchlax out, and I don't, I can easily survive an Earth Power. That Earth Power is Gastrodon's hardest hitting move. And yeah, I'm just going to be able to throw these two Body Slams and going to manage to take Gastrodon out. Yeah, it is 5 Mud Slaps to get to the Body Slam, and I believe 7 to reach the Earth Power? 8? 7? I probably should have looked up the counts so I'd be able to tell you what they are, instead of making everyone who watches this video have to look it up themselves. It's fine. We'll figure it out the hard way. You'll count the Mud Slaps, and when they surprise you and have an Earth Power, before they should, don't blame the counting, just blame the game for being unstable. That's that's what it would be anyway. Even if I knew the counts, the game would unstable and they would throw it one before anyway. And like, why do I learn these? why do I do this to myself? All right, so Toxicroak Swift Swap. I have to stay in with my own Toxicroak because I don't have a way to respond. After getting the last shield, I switch out into Bibarel. I was hoping to just kind of catch a Mud Bomb because I figured I would be able to survive it just fine. And they actually Mud Bomb anyway, which is good for me. I should have spammed out the Surf the instant I had it, but because I didn't, they are actually going to reach their next Mud Bomb. And I could have shielded and thrown my Mud Bomb, but just going to bring Toxicroak out. And hopefully they don't have a Drifblim in the back, which is a complete wall to Toxicroak's energy. I am going to throw this Sludge Bomb. I'm throwing it at 4 hexes. So this could be a CMP tie with an Icy Wind, which I would let go, but I'm actually going to shield it because I don't want Munchlax to get debuffed and not be able to do anything else. And I already know that there's a Bastiodon back there. My concern was if I let Toxicroak go down, Drifblim might stay in and debuff me first, and then 2 Bulldozes might not KO Bastiodon, and I need them to do so because Bastiodon's Smackdown Stone Edge does, output a lot of damage and a lot of pressure, and I'm not actually going to be able to reach a 3rd Bulldoze. Like, Munchlax doesn't have the survivability for that, and if I had taken an Icy Wind beforehand, would have fainted by now already after just 1. Thankfully, they did not debuff me first. They are going to end up bringing Drifblim in here. They sneak in a Hex, which really does not help me at all. I'm throwing the Body Slam. I should have switched out to Toxicroak here to try to catch this Icy Wind, which they could have thrown earlier, but we're building up to back-to-back, I guess. Or not quite back-to-back, but as much energy as they could. 2 hexes. If I had not let that hex in, I would have been able to KO them here, but yeah, I managed to let that through, and yeah, that was enough to cost me the game. That's a GG. That was a Bastiodon lead, too. Toxicroak Safe Swap is just kind of difficult to contend with. All right, Bastiodon in the lead again. This time they're going to Safe Swap into Frostlass. That works for me. Bibarel is one of the hard responses to Frostlass. If you have a Bibarel made already, it was probably built specifically to counter Frostlass in one of the Frostlass heavy metas. That and XL Litleo, that's basically both of their claims to fame. being a normal type that also resists Avalanche. And Bibarel, while it is definitely a good foil to Frostlass, it doesn't completely wall it. Like, I can't just no-shield these Avalanches. 2 Avalanches plus the Powder Snows is still enough to KO. Even my Bibarel is a rank 15, I think, so it has very good IVs, but it just doesn't come with that level of survivability. Bastiana is going to come back out, and I am going to be able to throw this Surf at it before I go down. That puts it into Munchlax Bulldoze range, or Toxicroak like 4 punches range, and there is a Toxicroak in the back. So thankfully for me, we're on even shields, and I have an energy lead, so I'm not going to switch out of here. Obviously, I'm just going to throw Mud Bomb and then just spam out my next Mud Bomb as soon as I have it. At this point, the only thing that can really endanger me is this Toxicroak Mud Bombing down mine. So I'm not even going to bother trying to build up extra energy, just going to spam out this Mud Bomb right away. That is going to land, take their Toxicroak out. Basti is going to come back in, and I am just going to try to counter down. This is only a Stone Edge at 7 Smackdowns, but it's still enough, plus the Smackdown, to take out Tox. And I am just now going to reveal my Munchlax and just lick Bastiodon the rest of the way down. All right, that should take that game. That is a GG. All right, so 3 out of 5, not as strong as my last set, but I get a Scraggy, which is pretty good. I still don't have enough XL candy for an XL Scrafty. I think I'm maybe halfway there. It's getting there. It's a work in progress. It's a lot of work. Being that I don't buy incubators, most of my Scrafty kind of come from here. Oh my god. So look at Toxicroak's health from taking that 1 confusion from Shadow Gallade. So Shadow Gallade as a safe swap, right? Comes into this team. You need to be really fast about switching into Munchlax. Not only because that 1 confusion does like 40% of Toxicroak's health, but also because if you're too slow to the swap, you won't be able to lick down before they reach their 7th confusion, which will enable them to bait Leaf Blade and land the close combat. Munchlax will actually survive a Leaf Blade plus, you know, the plus 6 confusions, but like a 7th confusion would be too much. So yeah, have to be really quick to switch in there, just so that you can lick the whole way down before they, you know, get in too many confusions of damage that they're able to force their way into switch advantage. So yeah, they managed to catch a Mud Bomb on their Munchlax, which is fantastic for them. I'm going to switch out after 5 counters. It takes 5.5 counters for a Munchlax to reach Body Slam. So yeah, just throwing 5 and then switching out there. If I tried to throw 6 to build up energy for a Mud Bomb, they would end up throwing in the middle of their my counter, assuming they're spamming it out, and would have been able to take me out, and I would have lost that energy. Now, since I'm able to get Bibarel in here, I can just Water Gun the whole way down. If they reached a move and took me out, Tox would come in and farm down and have a Mud Bomb ready. And if they don't, I will have a Surf ready for this Toxicroak, which actually doesn't quite take them out. Would have been better for me to throw the Hyper Fang. Again, when both of them are going to hit for neutral and you're only going to get to throw 1, Hyper Fang, you know, does a little bit more damage for a little bit more energy. It would have taken them out a little bit more cleanly. But still good to land that Surf so that I'm familiar with how much a Surf does. All right, Drifblim in the lead again. Very common lead lately. I've not been loving that aspect of it. Gonna safe swap into my Munchlax right away. Just being careful not to let them sneak in a move. And wow, that is an old-fashioned car alarm. How does this keep happening to me right when I record these too? It's not like it does this all day, I swear. That's crazy. So Empoleons have been not shielding against Munchlax. It's important to throw the Bulldoze before they have the opportunity to throw one of their moves, just so that you can gauge whether they want to start taking it into the multi-shield or not. But yeah, for me, from what I've seen so far, they have not shielded the Bulldoze yet. So they shielded Body Slam, which maybe was actually necessary. If I was able to reach if I didn't let them sneak in a Hex and was able to reach my 3rd Body Slam, then that actually would have maybe taken Drifblim out. Gonna bring in Bibarel, end up absorbing this Shadow Ball. They have their own Munchlax in the back. I'm just gonna bring out Toxicroak, and this was really just a matter of winning alignment against the Empoleon. Once I had that, this game was pretty much sealed. All right, but that is a GG. I think if I had been them, I would have maybe brought in the Munchlax to lick down my Munchlax instead. Alright, so Frostlass, save swap. Yeah, I'm going to bring out Bibarel right away. Eat the first Avalanche, no need to shield it, and just going to start spamming out Surfs. If they no shield, they won't be able to reach another Avalanche, so I won't have to shield. And they let it go. And I am able to pew 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 the rest of the way down. Empoleon's going to come out, and I am kind of in a health range where if they just go for an aggressive farm, they will end with a ton of energy. And I don't have a great way of stopping them from doing that. Yeah, just going to throw this Surf. If I'm able to reach another Hyper Fang, I will throw that. But since it looked like that Waterfall was going to take me out, I decided to throw the Surf. And then it does actually take me out. So, yeah, that would have been... Yeah, I would not have made it. Toxicroak's going to come in. This Empoleon has some energy, enough to throw the one Drill Peck, but not enough to reach a second one. And, yeah, there's actually a Gliscor on the back, which is a pretty strong wall to... Toxicroak. I mean, you know, single resisting the Sludge Bomb, although the Sludge Bomb does still hurt, and these counters are single resisted, but they were still hurting quite a bit also. Gliscor is just kind of squishy. I've got that shield, but that's all right. I'm going to no-shield the first move every time. It is the Earthquake, and it hits pretty hard, but that's all right. The only way I was going to end up losing this matchup is if I shielded the first move, and it had been a bait, and they got the boost, and then Earthquaked me. That would have killed me. So here I can shield this, and even if they get the boost on this Night Slash, what they actually do, I'm going to be able to reach this Body Slam, and that will put them low enough that I can just lick the rest of the way down, or failing that counter down as long as they don't farm me the whole way. And yeah, Empoleon just doesn't have enough health. Munchlax might have been able to lick them the rest of the way down. But yeah, that's GG. I should take that game. All right. Toxicroak into Gliscor in the lead. So obviously that's terrible for me. I threw one counter to maybe see how I felt if they had like Fury Cutter instead, because Toxicroak will resist Fury Cutter. But it doesn't make any sense to do that. I should have just switched out blindly to Munchlax right away, regardless of moveset, really. So I am going to shield since they built up a ton of energy. And I actually was shielded the Earthquake, so that's good for me. They have their own Munchlax, which switches in, and since I've already spent a shield and I had some energy, but I have to throw that energy to land my first Body Slam to get them into my health range, they are this Munchlax is essentially up a shield with a slight energy advantage. Functionally, that's how this is turning out. So I'm not going to be able to force my way into switch advantage, whether I like it or not, so I'm not going to fight for it. I'm just going to try to, you know, maybe force a shield out of them and just end up farming them down with Toxicroak. Like, it might have been good for me to undercharge that last Body Slam just so that they would be low enough to give Tox a little bit more farm, because still, you know, if I'm able to throw my next Body Slam, it'll take them out, so they're forced to throw here regardless. I could have left them with a little more health. So really minor thing, just, you know, a minor judgment call that I'll try to be better about the next time. Yeah. Gonna bring Bibarel out into Gliscor, and they are going to swap into their Empoleon, seeing a ton of Empoleon. So I'm going to no-shield the Drill Peck, and I am just going to go straight Surf. Or at least, I mean, I threw the first Surf. The second Surf... Oh yeah, I guess I am throwing the second Surf. Okay. Was I thinking of another game where I went for the Hyper Fang? Or is that just later? No, that's here. Yeah, I throw the second Surf. It's not enough, and yeah, they're going to like waterfall me the whole way down. I bring in Toxicroak, I sneak in a counter. That probably doesn't make any difference at all. I'm going to end up shielding a Drill Peck. They switch out into Gliscor to transfer that counter. And yeah, this Gliscor is only going to be able to reach a Night Slash, so I'm going to be able to counter the rest of the way down. Empoleon's going to come out. They only needed to throw that one waterfall, I think, to reach their charge move, but I'm going to be able to throw two counters in that time and manage to take them out before they're able to throw their move. So managed to take that game. That is a GG. That was close, though. All right. Empoleon in the lead. Fantastic lead for Toxicroak. They're going to switch into Drapion, which is maybe even worse against Toxicroak than Empoleon is. I am going to no-shield the first move, and it is an Aqua Tail. I'm going to throw this Mud Bomb here. I was able to sneak in a counter when they threw their first charge move, and I denied here. So I'm actually able to land this last counter and take them out just as they're getting the energy for their next Aqua Tail, so I don't have to shield anything. If they had reached it, I would have shielded the second move and farmed the whole way down. Well, the whole way down isn't very much in this case, but, you know, would have shielded the second move and farmed. So I blind swapped pretty much into Bibarel when I saw the Psychic typing because I was worried that I would get hit with a Confusion. And I wanted to save Munchlax, which is my actual harder wall to Psychic types in the back. This may have been a mistake, though, because I get hit with a Grass Knot, and that puts me into farm down range for Empoleon, which doesn't really need health. Empoleon just needs energy. So they end up taking me down there, and now they're going to be able to threaten Toxicroak. I'm going to end up shielding this, even though I know that there's, you know, a Cresselia in the back. Just, I don't know. Seemed like it would be faster to counter down. And I should just throw my Sludge Bomb here, blindly, into Cresselia. Because if they end up no shielding the Mud Bomb, it just doesn't do that much. Regardless, Munchlax is going to be able to come out, and if this Cresselia has Future Sight, the Future Sight will kind of hurt. I'm going to shield the first move, assuming that it will be the Moonblast. And if they're Moonblast, Grass Knot, Moonblast is the slightly more expensive, very slightly harder hitting move. And yeah, just going to throw this Body Slam. I get a shield, and I can just lick the rest of the way down. I'm perfectly safe here. Even if this was a Future Sight, they wouldn't have enough to reach a second one, and Moonblast just does not bring Munchlax low enough. So yeah, managed to take that game. That is a GG. Yeah, Toxicroak lead was very tough for my opponent's team there. But yeah, that concludes that set. I get a 5 out of 5, and I get a Heatran, which is what I want. Still don't have the Hundo, although I did actually do a raid today on my way home. And yeah, picked up a 98 IV Heatran, so the best one that I've got so far. Still building up this XL candy. It might be one of the legendaries that I actually do end up XLing, just to make rocket battles faster. So far, that's the only reason that I have for XLing any legendary at all. Heatran is really great for taking out grass rockets, and depending on what's available in rotation, bug. Sometimes the bug rockets have, like, you know, bug steel types, and, you know, currently I'm using Rhyperior because the current pool of Pokemon for that doesn't have a lot of those. But yeah, they've been common in the past, and Heatran has been amazing for that. So there we have it. Anyway, that is my team. That was how you play it. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to do the things you know you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. You know you're supposed to do them. Helps me out a bunch and makes the YouTube algorithm like me. Thank you all for watching. I will see you on the next one.